Hello, good afternoon. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now with me, Vinny Motiwala, along with me, Cheryl D'Souza as well. Cheryl, very good afternoon to you as well. Markets were showing a bit of that 21,000 mark. Finally, we touched that. But after the RBI policy meet, we've seen a bit of a fall coming in since then as well. Nothing exciting happening, right? Day's lowest point as of now, the markets.
Absolutely, the markets have drifted lower. In fact, if you look at one of the reasons why the markets have actually drifted lower is because of the negative, or rather, a tad bit hawkish commentary coming in from the RBI governor, and post that, as you can see it on the screen, the markets have given up all of their morning gains. In fact, like Vinny said, we did scale that 21,000 on an intraday mark, but yes, from there on now we are lower. In fact, the broader markets, the cut over there is far sharper than when you compare it to the benchmark indices, because the broader markets have lost over 1% from the day's high, be it mid-cap index or the small-cap index. Both of them are seeing sharp knock in today's trading session. But there are a lot of other individual pockets we need that to discuss about, and that are winning or rather scaling higher in today's trading session.
Absolutely, a lot of these individual names at least are scaling higher. But to talk about which are the stocks that are in focus today, which are buzzing in trade today, we are joined on the technical front. We have Aditya Arora joining in with us, while from the research team we have Ankita joining in with us. A very good afternoon to both of you all as well. And as always, let me start with the first stock that's going to be in focus today. We're going to talk about NOIL. That's the first stock that we are actually going to start with. And BNK Securities has initiated coverage on NOIL, given a buy rating, target price of 392 rupees per share. They believe the best way to actually play in the tire sectors is through ancillaries as well. Tire ancillaries are going to be the major beneficiary that will be coming in terms of the capex of 20,000 crore to be spent over the next 3 years by the Indian tire manufacturers, including foreign MNCs. So yes, on the back of that, we're keeping an eye out on NOIL. They are currently, the stock is trading somewhere around 15 times FY26 EPS as well. They believe overall NOIL is well placed and has consistently outperformed the global as well as domestic rubber consumption trends, achieving an average growth rate of 2 to 3 times higher versus the peers as well. So yes, on the back of that, they're expecting good volume growth of around double-digit 11.7% CAGR growth over the next 3 years as well. So let's keep an eye out on NOIL today, trading with gains of 3.5% as of now.
All right, that's NOIL for you. That is in focus in today's trading session. Next stock that we'll talk about is IFL Securities, which has hit a record high level in today's trading session on an intraday basis. No doubt the stock is now higher by about 5%, but at one point in time it actually scaled about 14% higher, hit a record high level of 134.4 rupees per share. SAT has set aside SEBI's order prohibiting the brokerage from onboarding new clients for 2 years. It's also reduced the monetary penalty to about 20 lakh rupees from earlier 1 crore rupees. And on back of this particular development, a positive one coming in for the IFL Securities. You can see the stock is trading higher by 5.6% as we speak right now.
Absolutely, that is IFL Securities for y'all. But Aditya, you have picked out a stock today as well, and the first stock you're going to talk about is a GMR Infra. So in terms of that, what are the charts indicating for this one? Where do you see it headed today? Also seeing a very strong up move.
Good afternoon, Vinny, and good afternoon, everyone. So I think GMR is one lone wolf in the bullish pack, whereas other market pairs are actually correcting. If you look at the mid-cap and small-cap space, then there is definitely weakness across the board. And I feel it was like a marathon wherein market shot from 18,800 to 21,000. Hence, the market is little weak otherwise. But GMR looks strong. So this stock could be bought at the current market price, and stop loss should be placed at 62 and target should be 75 to 80. So it's a bullish stock.
All right, moving on then. Ankita, let's talk about CONCOR, and why is this one in focus today?
Well, yes, CONCOR is in focus today because CONCOR has inked a memorandum of understanding or an MOU with NTPC Vidyut Vihar Nigam. The MOU aims to explore the possibility of setting up, PV solar renewable energy projects in CONCOR terminals. And on the back of this news flow, CONCOR is going to be in focus. Currently, the stock is trading towards the day's lowest point.
Okay, let's move on and talk about the next stock on the technicals, and that is Prestige Estate. Aditya, this one, what a move it's already seen in the last 1 month. Around a 40% uptick in the last 1 month, last 6 months more than doubling as well. Are you expecting a further upside for Prestige Estate now?
Correct. Real estate space has given multi-year breakout. Hence, the stocks are doing pretty well. Underlying stocks are doing pretty well. So, Prestige is leader in that pack. and this can still run up 5 to 10% from here. Though, so this could be bought at current levels, and stop loss should be placed at 1120.
All right, moving on then and talking about the next stock, Vinny, that is in focus, and that will be Five-Star Business, isn't it? Along with Zomato, this one also is in focus in today's trading session. And why is that?
Absolutely. Both of these are in focus today, Zomato as well as Five-Star. But let's talk about Five-Star Business. We have more details coming in here that, we're seeing a block deal that has happened in Five-Star Business. And what we are understanding is it's an 8.8% stake sale that has happened of around 1,876 crores. In the morning, we had news flow coming in and sources were saying that, Matrix Partners, TPG Asia as well as Peak 15 Partners were the sellers of this as well. The likely sellers for this. So let's keep an eye out on that. We may be seeing further more names coming in of the buyers as well. For sure, the seller names will be coming in as well. And the price was around 730 rupees per share, which was at a discount of 3% of yesterday's closing price. So on the back of this block deal today, we are keeping an eye out on Five-Star Business. As of now, the stock is trading with cuts of 1.7%.
All right, moving on then, let's talk about IRB Infra, which is another stock that has hit a record high level in today's trading session. At one point in time, the stock was trading higher by 6.4%. Now the stock is trading higher by about 2%. Also, they've said that November toll collection saw an uptick of about 19.4% on a year-on-year basis to about 437 crore rupees. And they're saying that they're expecting the growth momentum to continue. So on the back of robust growth coming in November, also giving a very strong, positive, forward-looking commentary. You can see RBI Infra that's trading high by about 2% right now.
Okay, let's move on and talk about BHEL then. And Aditya, BHEL has seen a very, very good run-up, plus 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, whatever you want to compare, has done very well. Today, it's a bit of a downtick that we're seeing coming in the stock. So specific, any indication that is coming in on the charts now, maybe it's time to start booking profits?
Absolutely, I concur with that, and it's time to take chips off the table because the stock had steep run up from 113 levels to almost 184. So that's pretty too much in a very short period of time, and now stock is giving up its momentum and strength. So good time to book profits. Probably we can see 5 to 15% downside on the stock.
All right, moving on. Ankita, coming to you. GSK Pharma, why is this particular counter in focus today?
Yeah, well, GSK Pharma is in focus today, because the company has established an omni-channel team to expand its reach and coverage to the target segments by leveraging technology and to improve their productivity. The company has also completed the voluntary retirement scheme and spent a sum around 156 crores as of one-offs of the VRS. And on the back of this, GSK Pharma is in focus today.
Okay, let's move on and talk about a sugar name that is Balrampur Chini Mills. And Aditya, yesterday we were having that sugar discussion as well. But on the charts, what are these stocks actually indicating? Where do you see Balrampur Chini Mills actually headed from here on? Or is it something that you would look to buy or maybe still avoid?
I would definitely not look to buy because having sugar stocks now seems little fatal because charts are pretty bearish right now, and the international news is also pretty bearish, wherein we have seen Brazil is going to increase the supply and production of sugar. So that is acting as international negative trigger point, and even domestically also the news flow is not very positive. And on the third aspect of it, if we compare the charts, and charts are also suggesting the same. We saw a very significant short build up yesterday in the derivative space, and the chart is also breaking down. So this is definitely avoid, and stock can further fall 5 to 30% from here. So it's a bearish bet right now.
All right, on that note, we'll actually slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. When we come back, we'll continue taking taking you through all the stocks buzzing in trade. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, and you're watching Market Fatafat on ET now. Let's keep it going with all the stocks that are in focus today and buzzing in trade. And let's talk about the next one is an electric bus manufacturer, and this one is Electra Green Tech. This one is in focus after the company has been awarded a letter of award for buses, electric buses that they will be giving and supplying to Vasai Virar City Municipal Corporation in Mumbai, and this is going to be over a time period of 7 months. They'll be giving supplying almost maintenance, actually, beg your pardon, for 40 electric buses, and they bagged an order. This order is of around 63 crores. So yes, keeping an eye out on Electra Green Tech. As of now, given up all those gains, was trading with gains of almost 2 to 3%, but yes, as of now trading with cuts of almost 0.7% in trade. So let's keep an eye out on this one.
All right, moving on. Aditya, let's talk about Tata Power and how is this one looking on the charts to you? We've seen a very strong rally underway for this particular counter. Do you think that now it will take a pause or there is more steam left?
Hi, I think the stock has run up quite a bit, and all the power companies have reached a valuation where they seem little overvalued in the short term, and they have run ahead of time. So if you look at the charts, then they have reached almost their resistance zone. So Tata Power is also one of them. So I think there's more profit booking which can happen over there, or a pause can happen. Not seeing rally beyond 335 in the short run.
Okay. Let's move on and also listen into Mahesh Patil, CIO at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC, and what he has to say in terms of the power sector. Where does he see it moving in terms of fundamentals as well? Listen in.
Currently, I think we see in the power sector, this has been a sector which has probably been, not done much for many years, and in the last, 1 year or so, we've seen heightened activity over there. Again, leading from the fact that, after a long period of time, we're seeing actually now capex intensity in the power sector starting to move up because of the underinvestment what we have done, especially in the thermal side. The peak deficit has gone up, and then we need to really step up our investments over there, both in coal as well as in the renewables, and that is seeing a lot of interest back in the sector. But I think some of the rally what we've seen has probably slightly gone ahead because this is a sector where it takes some time, right? In terms of you decide your plans and start to execute. It's a long gestation period. So while the overall outlook in the sector looks good and is improving, I would say one needs to be a bit cautious over. I think it can still be a good steady, especially the power utilities. It could still be a space where you could still look at it where there's still value. Though again, I would say compared to the recent historical multiple, it's in the highest. But if you really look at during the peak when the sector was, to compare to that level, then probably one can say there is still some upside there.
Right, shifting focus to LIC Housing Finance, which hit a record high level in today's trading session, and the reason for that being a note that's come out from Kotak. The stock actually saw an uptick of as much as 3.6%. Kotak Institutional Equities has maintained a buy stance on the counter, but raised the target price to 650 from 600 rupees per share. They're saying the stock's low valuation of about 0.9 times book value would see a re-rating continue. They've also said that the company's record home loan margins among competitors, mainly banks, and that makes it well placed to trade margins for growth should home loan rates actually change. They're also saying that unlike other NBFC, LIC Housing is best placed to weather RBI's unsecured lending curves and to face minimal impact from the increased credit costs. So that's what Kotak Institutional has to say on LIC Housing Finance, giving it a thumbs up, raising the target. The stock actually hit a record high level, but nevertheless trading with gains of about 1.7%.
Let's move on and talk about Zee Entertainment on the charts then. And Aditya, what's the view on for Zee Entertainment on the charts? Where do you see it headed? Should we expect an uptick?
Maybe we can expect some upside on this counter because the stock was consolidating, and on back of that there was some news flows which were positive and negative, hence stock couldn't find a reason to go up. But now there's aggressive accumulation which can be seen on the charts. So this looks bullish at 272, and stop loss should be 260 and target should be 280 to 290.
All right, moving on then, Ankita, let's talk about REITs. All of them are in focus, and why is that?
Well, yes, REITs is in focus today on the back of the fact that, the government has decided to amend the SEZ rules, and now they are, of course, allowing the floor price denotification, and that has brought the much needed relief to commercial spaces and office owners who are expecting the occupancy level to rise. And on the back of that, we did see some brokerages also come out with notes this morning. We had Morgan Stanley which sees has some tactical ideas on Brookfield REIT and the Embassy REIT. They're maintaining an overweight on Brookfield with a target price of 300 rupees per share, and they're maintaining an overweight on Embassy as well with a target price of 370 rupees. Now they feel that the share price will rise related to the country index over the next 60 years. They feel that this SEZ rule that has come out, that allows floor by floor denotification, that they expect, because of this, they expect the land to be leased faster in the future as well. Also, Investec has come out with a note on REITs. They feel that the SEZ amendment should help accelerate the occupancy. Brookfield has more than 15% of its completed area vacant, and they also believe that the commercial REITs will offer 12 to 14% IRRs over the next 3 years. And on the back of that, we see an uptick of more than 2.5% coming in on Embassy and Brookfield as well.
Keeping an eye on Brookfield REIT as well as Embassy REIT as well. Let's move on and talk about Gail then. And Aditya, in terms of charts, what's the view coming in for Gail in the last 5 days? Seems like a slight bit of a downtick that we're seeing. Even today, the stock is a bit subdued in trade as well. Would you look at buying the stock as of now at the current price?
I think it's time to book profits in this counter because there are aggressive sellers present. If you look at the charts at 145 levels, at those levels there are call writers also which are pretty active. So hence the stock seems pretty topped out in the short term. So time to take chips off the table, and we can see little bit downtick till levels of 130, 135.
Right, that is Gail for you, Vinny.
Absolutely, keeping an eye out on Gail over there and those levels over there as well. Maybe some bit of a downtick is what one could expect there as well. Let's move on and talk about Orchid Pharma there. And Orchid Pharma is in focus after we have a note that is coming from Investec. They've initiated coverage with a buy rating and a target price of around 800 rupees per share. They believe that the company is set to see a strong growth over the next 3 years, and the new management that continues to execute the turnaround strategy well for the company. Other than that, strong 35% plus EBITDA growth is what one could expect and what they are expecting over FY23 to FY26 for the base business, that's ex-PLI. And also what Investec is highlighting is the belief that there is a multiple optionalities that can potentially propel it into a different orbit, and if that goes well, that would work out well for Orchid Pharma, and that is why they're positive on this stock. Today the stock is trading with strong gains of 15% as of now, Sharon.
Right, that is Orchid Pharma for you. Moving on, let's talk about InterGlobe Aviation, and that particular counter is in focus in today's trading session. Reason being that they've actually informed the exchanges on a particular development. At one point in time, the stock was trading high by 1.2% or so, and rather 2.1%, but now it's actually given up all of those gains. The tribunal has granted interim relief to the company in matter regarding tax demands around 740 crore rupees and 927 crore rupees for the assessment year of 2016-17 and 2017-18 respectively. The tribunal has also directed the tax officer not to take coercive measures to recover the disputed demands for at least 6 months or until the disposal of InterGlobe Aviation's appeals. And on back of that, you saw the stock actually recover in trade. In fact, it hit a day's highest point, but now it is off the day's highest point. It's trading actually flat with a positive bias.
That is InterGlobe Aviation trading flat with a positive bias. Surely keeping an eye out on that one. Also, inflation, the stickiness is sustaining in terms of while the food inflation is not likely to surge, says the DEA Seki Ajay Seth, but inflation remains sticky. But listen into what more he had to say.
Here, there has not been any major change, but stickiness is there. And as done it, that policy goal is 4% plus minus 2. So we are some distance from 4%, but some variation on a month-to-month basis can happen, and that can be on account of either a base effect, or it can be that any particular commodity prices on a temporary basis going up because of some supply chain issue.
All right, so that's the word coming in from the Economic Affairs Secretary on inflation. But on that note, we're totally out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thank you so much, Ankita, as well as Aditya, for joining us on the show. And with that, we wind down on this week's edition of Market Fatafat as well. It's a goodbye from Winnie, myself, our producer Snehi, our director Trevor. Thank you so much for watching. See you next week.